And hopefully you see that in our future products and what's to come. Now, beyond just the desire to explore, we also need to make sure that these products are safe. And a huge part of what we're building has been built around safety. In the R1 products, every decision that had to do with structure or the way the vehicle was packaged was laddering into the goal of making these not only a safe vehicle, but the safest truck and the safest SUV in the world. So the R1T and the R1S achieved that. Top Safety Pick Plus, the highest safety rating on the Insurance Institute for Highway Safety, 5-star standard, and they're incredible. Now, linked to all this is a technology platform we created. We built software, we built electronics, we designed entirely in-house a network architecture that allows our vehicles to get better and better over time. And I see a lot of our owners out here, and I know one of the things that's most followed is what's the next set of features to drop? And we get to make improvements to the software, we get to add new features. I get tons of feedback. You know, my dad will send me, whether he likes it or not, sometimes very strongly worded. But we love the feedback. We love the opportunity to be really integral and connected to our community as we're making all these decisions. You know, we think about our community, we think about our owners. It's such a powerful part of what we're building. When I started, you know, I can remember back, it was, we had all these things we'd wrote. We thought about what do we want to become as a company? And one of the things that inspired us so deeply was to say, can we create something that inspires people? It inspires us to behave differently. It inspires us to show up as our best self. And that was embodied in this goal of creating a movement or a community of users, a community of customers that just loved the product and had an orientation and optimism around the future that was so core to who we are. And there's so many ways to look at this. There's so many stories. I get lots of emails. I love sharing with the team. Emails from customers who are doing really amazing things. So here's one that just embodies it beautifully. This is Milo. Imagine you're driving down the highway. You see a semi-truck in a ditch. And you not only think to yourself, I'm going to pull over and see if they're all right, I'm going to try to pull them out of the ditch. And so much in this embodies Rivian. It's that orientation to help, but it's also the fact that the vehicle can pull a semi out of a ditch. And so I used to get asked the question, can a Rivian vehicle tow? And I'd always jokingly say, it can tow a house across the street. Just how far do you want to tow it? But you know, beyond the products and beyond what we're creating in the technology and the software and propulsion and towing capability is really the other element of how our brand manifests, which is our spaces. And we're sitting in one today. This is normally a movie theater. It doesn't look like one right now, but normally there'd be seats right here. And this is an example of the types of spaces we want to create as a company. Spaces that are active elements of the community, pull people in, drive discussion, enable the types of dialogue around what's coming in terms of electrification, what we have to drive in terms of change. And this is one of many spaces, and we're building more of these, and we have them across the US, and each one of these is special. Each one has some unique link to the community that it's in. And you know, these are a chance for us to physically manifest our brand in a very unique way. But beyond the spaces like this, we also have a whole network of service infrastructure we've created. And when we think about service, you know, your mind immediately goes to the idea of going to a physical service location, but actually more than half of our service is done with our mobile service fleet. So we have over 500 mobile service trucks, our R1T, and mobile service vans that actually show up at your house, show up at your work, and we can fix your vehicle there. But in addition to that, for things that we can't fix in your driveway or fix in a parking lot at your office, we do have a physical service infrastructure. We have 54 service locations today. These are rapidly ramping up. And these are beautiful spaces, enthusiastic team members, and we've just started doing test drives out of these to get more people exposure, not just to Rivian, but importantly to electrification and what it feels like to drive an electric vehicle, something that really completely changes the way you think about the way a car operates. So we wouldn't be talking about electric vehicles in this massive transition where we have to move 1.5 billion vehicles in our global fleet over the next hopefully a few years, maybe a couple of decades, to electric without thinking about charging infrastructure. And one of the elements of charging that we often don't fully appreciate is most of it happens at home. More than 90% of your charging is happening actually in your garage. But you do need to go point to point. You need to go from Washington, D.C. to New York, from San Francisco to L.A. Or if you don't have a garage, you need a way to charge your vehicles. So we're also building a high-speed charging network. We call it a Rivian Adventure Network. It's rapidly being built out. Within a few years, we'll have 600 of these charging locations. And it'll be an open network. So it'll be Rivian vehicles as well as non-Rivian vehicles. And beyond that, we, of course, integrate across the other third-party platforms. And importantly, in fact, this month, our vehicles will be able to access the Tesla Supercharger network. And that's for existing customers. But I think we're going to see a big shift in the mosaic of charging solutions, and the technology and the platform we developed with our Rivian Venture Network is really key for that. Now, powering that network and powering this transition to electrification, we can think about the end vehicle, the use of that vehicle, as driving this change, driving a downstream demand shift from, of course, gasoline or diesel to electric. But we also need to create the upstream supply of renewable energy. And this is an area we've been really focused on, and we're committed to building out over 7 billion miles of renewable energy by 2030. And so those projects are already underway, and the downstream demand that all of our customers, all of our owners collectively represent, enable us to create this new upstream supply of renewable energy. So, we're here to talk about what's next. We're here to talk about how all this brings us to our next set of products, and really how we get a lot more people into our products, into our brand. And how do we make Rivian more accessible to a lot more people? So with that, let me introduce you to R2.